to Positive Talk Radio here on KKNW 1150 AM. My name is Kevin McDonald. I'm your host, and we are sitting here talking with Pam Hillinger and Kathy Powell. She is a coach and president of Powerfully Organized. And we were talking about organization, and you were saying something. We were going to talk about paper clutter. That's one of the teleclasses that you do. And let's go talk about that a little bit. Now, that's a free class, isn't it?
I offer 2 free classes, which are both posted on my website. One is called Buried in Paper, and we talk about, I use a 3-step process, which I call Trim the Fat. And FAT is an acronym for File, Act, or Toss. Toss is in throw away. And those are really your only choices with paper, and also with electronic information. So when your mail comes in, if you ask yourself file, act, or toss, it makes it a lot easier to make decisions about what to do with that paper. So in the teleclass, Buried in Paper, we talk about the act and toss part. The file part of that is the find anything in 5 seconds teleclass.
And we have to talk about that. But first, what would you do with someone like me? I have an email, and I had to laugh because on Saturday I decided I was going to clear it out. And in my inbox, I had 525 emails. And that took a while to figure out. But how would you, I know I should, every time I open up my email, I should read it and decide either to file it, throw it away, or act on it. Now, in many cases, all of these emails I chose to act on, and we're in various process and stages and so forth. How would you tell me to get organized? What would you do?
Well, again, that comes back to priorities, because you can't do everything. And so it may be that you're biting off more than you can chew. I don't know. I would guess that might be the case.
Well, yeah.
So it comes down to getting really clear about what you choose to act on, what you choose to delegate to others, and what you choose to say, bye-bye, not going to do it.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that, in my case, I've run out of Indians. So it's like the chief has to go do it, or it doesn't get done.
No place to delegate.
No place to delegate.
So you come back to, do I choose to do this, or do I choose to say no to it? And every time you say yes to someone or something, you are in fact saying no to someone or something else. So,
see, now that's a good rule.
If you say yes to this, what will you be saying no to?
Like hours away from my children and family.
Or self-care.
Yeah, yes.
Etc. So that's how that works.
Okay, so we get me organized so that I can decide what to do with my inbox, and now I need to find something in 5 seconds. Now that's another class you have. How do you find something in 5 seconds?
I use a tool called the Paper Tiger. It's a software program, and you don't scan anything into the computer, but you use the computer like you would a search engine on the web. And you can type in a keyword, and that keyword is going to direct you to the appropriate file where it is kept. And it's for a lot more than just paper. I have a client at the NIH that is using the Paper Tiger for tissue samples in the lab. And anything you can put a number on, you can track with the Paper Tiger. So
this piece of software then is not for like emails and stuff that's already in your computer.
No.
This is for your hard copy paper stuff so that you can understand where you put it.
Correct.
I have a filing system, but I don't know where it goes.
And there are 2 reasons that I find that people pile instead of file. Number 1 is a fear of never finding it again. Once I file it away, I might not remember where I put it, so I'll just set it here for now. And a pile is born. Number 2 reason is a fear of forgetting to follow up. I need to do something with this. I don't have time right now, so I'll just set it here for now. Again, a pile is born. Something else comes in, it goes on top of it, something else goes on top of that. The next thing you know, the piles are metastasizing, and you've got them all over the room. They're sitting on the chairs, on all the counters, the credenza, the floor. Am I describing your office?
Yes, you are, as a matter of fact.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
I have a few piles in my office.
Except I don't have a credenza, so we just have a lot of floor space. And so you can. The problem is a lot of people will say, yeah, my office is a mess, but I know where everything is. That's just a cop-out, isn't it?
Well, they do to a point, and at some point they forget. And when I go through with a client and implement the paper tiger, we do the file, act, toss process. So I'm saying file, act, or toss, and they say, oh, this thing is so old it's obsolete. So what do you choose to do with it? Toss it. The next thing, oh, I'm glad I found this. I forgot. I need to follow up with this. What's the next action? And then when are you going to do it? And then we put it in the tickler file for when they're going to follow up with that. So we just go through the process, and I ask lots of questions. I don't give the answers. The answers are within my clients. And my job is to ask powerful questions to help them come up with the right answer for them.
So you'll go to their office and you'll actually sit down with them and talk to them about what their goals are, what they want to accomplish, and then you'll go through and start implementing these organizational skills that they
Correct.
need to have.
We create a paper management system, and I can also do the same with electronic information. So, for example, your inbox for your email. Do you have folders? Do you use folders outside of inbox, outgoing, sent, and delete?
Well, yeah, but there's a story there too, because if it gets into the folder and you forget which folder it is, it's kind of pointless at the same point.
Okay. I have another wonderful tool to recommend. It's called Enfish, ENFISH.com. Enfish does the same thing that the Paper Tiger does, but only for electronic information. The nice thing about Enfish is there's no data entry. You load it on your computer, and it indexes your entire hard drive. Now, there are a few exceptions. For example, it does not interface with QuickBooks. It does not interface with the Paper Tiger. It interfaces with all of the Microsoft products. It interfaces with Outlook and Outlook Express. It does not interface with Eudora. So if you use Eudora for your email, you're out of luck. They're working on that. And it indexes the whole hard drive so that if you want to find something and you can't remember which folder you put it in, it finds it for you. And it finds every document with that word associated with it.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, I had a prospective client call me about 6 months ago, and I created a contact record for her. I used ACT, and then I emailed her an email, and she emailed me one back. So those two emails and the contact record were on my hard drive. Several months later, she called me back, and I recognized her name, but I have very poor memory recall, and I could not remember the conversation. And she was talking to me as if I knew her. So I simply typed in her first name, which was unusual, and in about 2 seconds on my screen were the two emails and her contact record, where I had typed in a few notes in the notes history section. So I immediately was able to figure out who she was and pick up with the conversation.
And until this very moment, she thought that you knew her the whole time.
Absolutely.
Now she knows that you were just kidding.
I hope she's not listening.
So when we talk about that, we talk and the finding something in 5 seconds and those things. It's about organizing your computer, organizing your paperwork so that you can do what? What's the purpose of all that?
To focus on your priorities.
And that will raise your productivity. How does that work?
Productivity goes up when you're focusing on what's most important, assuming that what's most important is related to that.
Absolutely, because if you can, and we're going through this now in my little company, is we are trying to make sure that when we start a project, we follow it to completion and get all the paperwork where it's supposed to go so that all the wheels can start turning so the organization can work. And if there is a piece that is missing there, then everything that you set up in a company doesn't work.
The average executive wastes 150 hours a year looking for lost or misplaced things. If you multiply that by the number of employees in a company, you can imagine the loss of productivity.
That is so right. I have been in my professional world, I have daily run across people that have asked me, have you seen this? Do you know where that is? Because we can't find stuff, and rather than fix stuff, we go do that. So, Pam, we're going to come back for the next hour, and Kathy's going to stay with us, yes?
Absolutely.
Okay, we have to break for CNN Headline News. Kathy Powell is going to be here from Powerfully Organized, and we're going to talk to her for the next half an hour or so, and Pam is staying with us, and, of course, Eric has to because it's his job. So
Right on.
We'll be right back after CNN Headline News. Stay with us.
It means no worries for the rest of your day.